But, okay, real quick, though, to go back to your point on how you've seen all this game has to offer in, like, 10 games, I disagree.
Well, not exactly 10, but it's like after a while, it
After a
feels like the game
good
has.
few hundred or so, I would say.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah.
When I said 10, I didn't mean 10.
Yeah,
It
pretty...
was an exaggeration.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you. But, in general, that kind of goes into another point that a lot... that we're all kind of feeling like, is that we... over time, everyone's got this game pretty much figured out. But here's the thing. Let's kind of look at the opposite side of the spectrum first before we look at that. You get the new guys who are just running around. You get those very few these days who actively want to learn the game. And then you get those who, most of them who just don't. But then you have the opposite side of things where it's like, we've got this game figured out pretty much inside and out. And no matter how much we want to improve, we kind of hit a brick wall. So it just comes down to, how good are we on this exact day?
Or how well can we apply this knowledge?
Oh, what more is there that I can learn?
Exactly, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's the nature of how patches work once, like, we're getting near the end of one's lifespan. Happened similarly with 1.3, and it happened here. But,
Even,
that,
I'm going to say this, it won't help you to just know everything about the game.
you have
Like,
to
that
apply
alone,
at the same time.
you have to know how to properly apply.
And that's one of the...
And you also know how to fight against it.
and that's kind of where the issue lies, is that you get a lot of those higher-up characters that effectively say, put the controller down. I wouldn't quite say to that extent, but it does kind of feel like a one-player game sometimes. But let's...
There you go.
I will get to that in a bit, but for now, to get back on, like, what I mean by the opposite end of the spectrum, that also kind of brings the negative side of things. Like, yeah, if you fight these guys, you will learn how to deal with all this stuff. But at the same time, let's take a look at some of the well-known names that I know, at least from my end of things. Master Chief, Ragna Akihiko. You get Kiyomi and Elion, who both play Jubei. Ragna, Bojack playing as Rael Gordeau, which is a rare case.
Yeah, it's like he's the outlier.
And then you get somebody like Zave playing Hazama Seth. I'm pretty sure it's Hazama Seth. Then you get people like Pancakes on this end of things, whom is literally just a god with almost every character he touches.
Pretty much.
I mean, have you seen his... if any of you have seen his Aegis, it's a work of art.
I'm going to say this, we can't count people like that. Because they're literally just a wild card.
Funny enough, that's the series he specializes in, but that's off topic.
That was the joke.
Yes,
Beautiful.
it really was. You were way
Well
right.
played, sir. Well played indeed. Anyway, it's like you get all these people who know the game super well. I just only gave a few examples. They're all just the icing on... they're just like the tip of the iceberg here. And you start to notice kind of a pattern. Ragna Akihiko, Hazama Seth, ML Sword runs Hakumen Akihiko. Initially Hakumen 9, but that's off topic. You get Evo Champ Shinku, whom is a very chill dude, by the way, running Yang and Ruby. Tempest Romeo with Narukami Wald, and you start to kind of notice something.
These are all top 10, top 10 to 15 characters.
In some cases, top 20, because I think Hazama is actually really dangerous, but that's beside the point. You get those outliers like Bojack. You sometimes get someone like... oh, what was the guy's name? There's Omnix, who runs Lene Hyde even to this day, which I can kind of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get people like Shige, Orie Izuyoi. Who would have saw that coming? But outside of, like, those very few who can actively do this sort of shit, you'll notice a lot of these characters play to what the metagame is at the moment. We're not going to go into that, but that kind of leads into the whole lack of variety issue we were talking about earlier. And while that's not entirely true, I will say that right now, on a surface... on a surface level, okay, let's take it. Let's ask the same question that Team APS asked regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! At one point. Is creativity dead?
Kinda.
On a mixing and matching level, it isn't, but on like a surface level, it might seem dead. That much I'm going to say.
It's
Yes.
one of those things where it's like there's a lot that are used, but a lot of these teams are just combinations of the same handful of characters, unless you want to be a mad lad and pick someone that's not in those 15 characters.
Look at gimmicks who brought Platinum Kanji to Evo pools this year.
I want to say this: he should have won.
Respect that man. He should have won.
He won in the heart. He won in the hearts of the people.
He won in our hearts, yes.
He's Alex Vaya. He's the people's champion.
Yeah, he was the people's.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah.
But to get back on point, I'm not saying this is like this is only top tiers thing, because that's not even the case at all to an extent. When you get to like the top 8s, that's when you start to see that happening.
It's like the top tiers in this game are just
Either engines,
such
they're either engines, or they're so damn good at what they do that they outclass almost everyone else.
It really is like that. Even the ones that are engines, they're so good at what they do, they already outclass everybody else in that category.
Let's take a look at one of the most commonly known engines, for example, Wald. He's one of those characters with big normals, anti-projectile in terms of his big meaty claws. Yes, I did quote that. What of it? And he can even support Yukiko to where she can get 9 flame boosts super easily and become a character, so to speak. It's like, okay, with this option, we can actually start seeing Yukiko in tournament play. But then you start to realize, wait a minute. There are other characters who are stronger that also do well with Wald, such as Narukami or even Akihiko or Yang. So then you start to ask yourself, what's the point?
Exactly. This game is literally, what's the point to care?
And that's kind of, and it's like, the weird part is like, a lot of these top tiers can go so well with even some of the lower ones that you would think there's a lot of representation that can be had. But then you start to realize that, like, yeah, there's also higher up characters that go well with them anyway. Although, weirdly enough, there is one team I've been seeing recently with Wald.
I'm gonna say this right now. It feels like 10 or so characters of a
Currently,
archetype, for every 10 or so character of an archetype, like, say, Rushdown, Grappler. Well, okay, not Grappler, we only have the 3, but you get my... It feels like there's a top tier of that class, or top 15 of that class, to invalidate the other's existence.
not entirely so, because I do think that Shirogane can do pretty good, when paired up with Seth in particular. Have you seen that shit?
It's like, yeah. But even you have to pick Seth.
I've seen Lene Shirogane doing things to an extent.
It's like, yeah, these characters have their benefits, such as the unknown matchup for a lot of players, because they get so used to exclusively fighting top tiers that if you come at them with anything less than that, they won't really know what to do at first, out of sheer confusion. It's like, what does this character even do?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, alright. And before you do that thought for a second, I again need to refresh, because time constraints are a bitch.